In 1969, during a midnight recording session in Memphis, Elvis told the band to keep the tape rolling, but never released the song. He called it For Her. No one knew who Her was. Decades later, Priscilla opened a sealed envelope and revealed the truth behind the song that was never meant to be heard. Stay with this one, because what she found in that studio reel didn't just uncover a secret song. It uncovered the love story the world thought had ended. January 22, 1969, American Sound Studio, Memphis. The clock on the wall blinks past 2 a.m. Cigarette smoke hangs heavy. The floor creaks under the weight of too many long nights. Elvis stands near the mic, sleeves rolled, hair damp with sweat. Around him, the band is packing up after recording Suspicious Minds. But he isn't ready to leave. "Hold up," he says quietly. His voice carries the exhaustion of someone who's been chasing ghosts through music. "Let's do one more." Producer Chips Moman looks up, confused. "Elvis, we don't have another track listed." Elvis just smiles. "Then don't list it." He lowers the lights until the room glows dim and gold. The red recording sign hums. The tape reels begin to spin. He hums a soft melody, one no one has heard before. No sheet music, no words written down. It sounds tender, almost fragile, like he's trying to keep something alive that's slipping away. Moman motions to the sound engineer to roll tape. Elvis whispers, "This one's just for me." The piano joins in slow chords, almost hesitant. The drums barely brush the rhythm. The sound isn't like anything he's done before. Feels personal, secret, unfinished. By the second take, his voice cracks on a single word. He closes his eyes and lets the emotion carry him. For the first time that night, the band doesn't look at him like a star. They look at him like a man singing to someone who isn't there. When the take ends, silence swallows the room. No one claps. No one moves. Elvis opens his eyes, takes a breath, and says softly, "Don't label this one." Moman nods, still dazed. "What do I write on the box?" Elvis hesitates, then scribbles 2 words across the tape reel in blue ink. "For Her." He sets the box on the console, stares at it for a long second, then turns off the mic. The band watches him leave, unsure what they just witnessed. The tape keeps spinning after the door shuts, capturing the hum of silence, the faint click of his boots, and one last sigh before the reel runs out. Have you ever made something not for fame but for closure? What do we hide in the art we never finish? Outside, the Memphis night hums, neon lights flickering over Beale Street. Inside that studio, something sacred has just been sealed in magnetic tape. The morning sun creeps through the blinds at American Sound Studio. The ashtrays overflow. The night's recordings are boxed, labeled, and sent to RCA. All except one. Reel 6C. No title. No note. Just 2 words in Elvis's handwriting. For Her. 3 weeks later, From Elvis in Memphis hits the charts. Critics call it his comeback album, soulful, electric, alive. But something in his voice sounds different. Softer, sadder. Fans can't name it, but they can feel it. Studio engineer Stan Kessler remembers asking, "What about that extra track, boss?" Elvis just smiled and said, "That one's not for the charts." Then the reel disappeared. RCA's logbooks show every session detail, song titles, takes, durations. But that night's last tape isn't listed anywhere. No entry. No mix. Just a blank space where it should be. For decades, no one mentioned it again. Until 2022. Graceland's archive room. Rows of humidity-controlled shelves hum under soft light. Priscilla Presley, now in her late 70s, helps catalog Elvis's private studio materials. Archivist Linda Rayburn hands her a faded cardboard box, edges frayed. This one doesn't match anything in the database. On the label, Reel 6C, unreleased, January 22, 69. Priscilla frowns. The handwriting is unmistakable. They thread the reel onto an old Studer tape machine. The motor whirs. The tape hisses softly. For a second, it's just noise. Then his voice. "Scylla, this is yours." Her hands fly to her mouth. That whisper. Intimate, real. breaking through 50 years of dust, turns the quiet room into a cathedral. Linda steps back. Did he just say your name? Priscilla nods, eyes wet. He never recorded anything for me after we divorced. The tape continues. Faint guitar. Slow tempo. His voice lower than usual, trembling with restraint. It's not the Elvis the world knows. No crowd. No swagger. Just a man speaking through melody, too honest for stage lights. A question forms in her mind, sharp and aching. What else did he hide in here? What secrets do we leave behind in the things we never share? Could love survive only by staying hidden? She rewinds the reel, listens again. The whisper is clear, deliberate, like he meant her to find it someday. The band's faint chatter drifts under the song. Then silence. Priscilla exhales shakily. He kept it for me, she whispers. All this time. Outside, the rain begins to fall on Graceland's windows. Inside, the tape keeps turning, one revolution at a time, unspooling a secret the world was never supposed to hear. The reel spins, steady and fragile, as if it might crumble under the weight of memory. Tape hiss fills the Graceland archive room. Priscilla leans closer, her reflection flickering in the glass. Then comes the voice, softer, slower, stripped of fame. Elvis begins to sing. If the road gets long, and my crown feels cold, remember, love built the throne, not gold. It doesn't sound rehearsed. It sounds confessed. Priscilla grips the edge of the table. She hasn't heard that tone in decades. Not since before Vegas, before the limousines and the walls between them. The lyrics cut deeper. If the lights go dark and I lose my way, promise me you'll keep the faith we made. Her eyes glisten. The song isn't performance. It's a letter. The band never knew he recorded it just days after signing their divorce papers. The very week their marriage ended, he went back into the studio. He didn't shout, didn't cry, didn't explain. He sang. Every note feels like an apology wrapped in melody. Every pause sounds like hesitation between words he couldn't say aloud. Linda, the archivist, whispers, "It's like he's talking to you." Priscilla nods faintly. "No," she says. "He's talking to the past." The room falls still again as the chorus swells. You were the calm in my storm, the reason behind the songs they never heard. Her breath catches. This wasn't made for RCA or for charts or for crowds. It was made for closure. The music fades into a long stretch of hiss. Then sudden silence. She presses her ear closer. The reel stutters, clicks, and cuts off midline. If someday, the rest is gone. She rewinds, plays again. Same abrupt stop. A clean splice mark runs across the magnetic tape. Someone decades ago had cut the ending clean off. Priscilla's pulse races. Why would anyone erase it? Linda shakes her head. Maybe it was personal. Maybe someone wanted it buried. Shock line. The secret song is incomplete. Half confession, half ghost. Priscilla closes her eyes. He wouldn't have left it unfinished. She rewinds again, this time listening past the silence. Hidden beneath the hiss, a faint sound, almost imperceptible. His breathing, and then a hum. She can barely make it out, but it's there. The same melody, softer, slower, as if he's fading with it. What would it feel like to hear the apology you waited your whole life for? Do words mean more when they arrive too late? She sits motionless, tears falling silently onto the table. The tape keeps turning, fragile and eternal. Somewhere between the sound and the silence, she realizes. He left her one final message. She just hasn't found it yet. A week later, Priscilla carries the fragile reel across Los Angeles, sealed inside a plastic canister. She meets Martin Kyle, one of the best audio restorers in the business. His studio smells like dust, solder, and time. He sets the reel on his console. "This one's old," he says, scanning the tape with a magnifying lamp. "See this mark here? Someone cut it clean. But maybe..." He threads it through his machine, flips a switch. The hum deepens, the speakers crackle, and the ghost of a voice rises from the noise. At first, it's fragments, breathing, piano keys brushing faintly, then something like a whisper. Martin isolates the frequencies, slowly lifting static like fog off a forgotten field. Priscilla stands behind him, hands pressed together. And then he plays it back. If we meet where hearts don't break, I'll sing your name again. Her hand covers her mouth. The missing verse wasn't random. It was the ending. The line he'd hidden under noise all along. She closes her eyes. He wasn't saying goodbye, she murmurs. He was promising. Martin leans back, silent. Ma'am, whoever this was for, he meant it. Priscilla wipes her tears. He wrote it the week we let go. I thought we'd finished our story, but he kept writing without me. The truth hits her harder than any rumor ever did. The lost verse doesn't mourn love, it sanctifies it. Turns regret into prayer. Shock line. The song isn't about losing her, it's about freeing her. The static fades out again. But this time something else slips through. A hum, gentle, almost like a lullaby. Then, in the quietest tone, Elvis's voice whispers, "You'll understand someday." Priscilla freezes. The phrase echoes through her bones. That was his voice, no doubt. She whispers to herself, "Someday is now. When love ends, does the soul still remember the melody? Would you forgive someone who confessed only through a song?" Martin stops the tape and looks at her. "What do you want to do with it?" She doesn't answer. She's staring at the spinning reels, hypnotized by how fragile they look. How they still move, even after 50 years. Finally, she exhales. "I want to finish what he started." Outside, the sun begins to set through the blinds, stripes of gold cutting across the studio wall. The hum of the tape fades into silence, but in her heart, the song is louder than ever. She picks up the box marked for her and presses it to her chest. Some stories never end. They just wait for someone brave enough to listen again. Days later, Priscilla walks through the quiet halls of Graceland. Outside, tourists chatter near the gates. But in here, time stands still. The air carries a faint scent of cedar and nostalgia. She's looking for something she isn't sure exists. One final thread between the man and the melody. In a drawer of Elvis's old writing desk, she finds a stack of letters tied with a blue ribbon. Most are fan mail, faded and brittle. But one envelope is different, cream paper, sealed in wax, marked March 1977. The handwriting is his. Her pulse stumbles. She breaks the seal carefully. Inside is a single page, folded once. The ink, slightly smudged, reads, "If they ever find that tape, tell them it was never goodbye, it was gratitude." Priscilla stares at the words, her throat tightening. Gratitude, not regret, not apology. Gratitude. Takes her a moment to realize what it means. The song for her wasn't meant to reconcile their love. It was meant to release it, to thank her for what she gave, and to free them both from the ache of what they couldn't keep. Shock line. It wasn't a love song, it was a letting go. She sets the letter down, tears rolling silently. "You didn't owe me anything," she whispers. For years, people called him a mystery. But maybe he wasn't hiding at all. Maybe he was just trying to leave something pure behind before time ran out. She walks outside to the garden where his piano once sat. The keys are gone now, but the echoes remain. She sits on the old bench, opens her phone, and plays the restored version of For Her. The voice that fills the air is aged by tape and distance, but it feels alive. He sings, "If the road gets long, and my crown feels cold, remember, love built the throne, not gold." She closes her eyes. How do you say thank you to someone who's gone? What's the sound of closure when the voice you loved still sings to you? When the final chord fades, she whispers, "I understand." A single bird chirps from the trees nearby, breaking the silence like applause. She folds the letter carefully, tucks it back into the envelope, and places it inside the For Her tape box. Then she looks up toward the blue Memphis sky and smiles. "You waited long enough," she says softly. "It's time the world heard you." In that quiet moment, the pain of the past feels lighter, transformed into something holy. August 16, 2022, Graceland Memorial Broadcast. The lights dim across the courtyard. Thousands of candles glow under the night sky. A screen flickers to life beside the mansion. Priscilla steps forward, holding a small silver flash drive. This, she says softly, was his last unfinished song. The crowd goes quiet. You can almost hear the wind settle. She presses play. The speakers hum. Tape hiss rolls like ocean waves. Then his voice. Older. Human. Fragile. If I can't come home, I'll meet you in the song. The audience gasps. Some cry quietly. Others close their eyes and sway. It's not a show anymore. It's communion. As the song plays, clips from 1969 flicker behind her. Elvis in that Memphis studio, sweat on his brow, a shadow in his eyes. The man who gave everything to the world but kept one song for peace. When the final note fades, no one claps. They just stand, motionless, letting silence finish the message he started 50 years ago. A journalist from the Memphis Sun later writes, "For one night, time stopped. It wasn't nostalgia. It was grace." Shock line. The song that never reached radio became the one that healed him in death. A month later, a bronze plaque is placed inside American Sound Studio, right where the tape was first recorded. January 22, 1969, Elvis Presley recorded, For Her. Dedicated in love. Revealed in truth. Visitors still stop to touch the glass over that plaque, as if to feel the heartbeat still humming beneath it. Who would your last song be for? What would you want it to say? Priscilla stands near the back as the crowd begins to leave. The final line echoes faintly from the speakers, almost lost in the breeze. His whisper, nearly a sigh. Thank you for waiting. She closes her eyes and smiles. Always, she whispers back, because legends fade. Voices age. But love, the kind that lingers in melody, never really dies. It just finds a new way to be heard. If the story moved you, share it with someone who still hums his songs. Because sometimes the truest love stories aren't in the spotlight. They're hidden in unfinished verses. And maybe tonight, somewhere beyond the stars, Elvis is still singing. Not to the world, but to her.